In this lesson, I will detail the steps I went through and the techniques I applied while working on the corn project in Air for SketchUp. Initially, I took the photo directly from Photoshop and imported it into Air for SketchUp. I set the creativity value to 0.5 and chose an AI model from the first section, Linksy category, with a style, and set the material protection value to middle for moderate protection. The results of this scan did not satisfy me, so I started experimenting. However, even with similar settings in these experiments, the results were not satisfactory. Especially in the areas where the corn kernels were removed, the coating created a very complex image. Despite many attempts, I couldn't get a good result. Therefore, I thought the background needed to be more organized, and I manipulated the photo in Photoshop. I tried to recreate the areas where the corn kernels were removed using Photoshop's AI feature. You can montage from different photos, but I achieved a result I liked after a few tries. I continued scanning in this manner. During these scans, I want you to pay attention to an important point. For example, when you make a scan, you can use it as a base and perform another scan on top of it. To do this, you need to click the iteration button on the right. This button accepts the current visual as a base and allows you to perform another scan on top of it with a new model. I continued scanning in this manner. In the third and fourth scans, I noticed that the photo was deteriorating and I wasn't getting good results. I realized I needed to develop different techniques to solve this problem. In particular, the corn kernels appearing too closed was a big problem in architectural forms. I decided to work on these kernels. I had previously done many scans, but none seemed realistic. Therefore, I decided to manipulate the kernels in Photoshop. Initially, I selected the kernels one by one and placed window textures on them, adding balconies to the areas where the corn kernels were removed. I placed the balconies I had taken from previous scans here. Then, I added references to the background and started scanning again. This time, I was very careful while scanning, but I still did not get the desired results. Unreasonable and unappealing images were formed. Despite this, I continued scanning, experimenting with different models and settings each time. Finally, I decided to use different colors on the corn kernels. I added greenery to the parts on the kernels and scanned them with model number 6 from the architecture category, with the keep material value set to middle. This way, I started to achieve the desired result. The closed areas began to open up, and this time I did a second scan. As a result, I combined the two scans in Photoshop and adjusted their colors. I want to mention that although I applied this system in many different projects, I didn't always get good results. For example, while working with figs, I did not get good results in many attempts. Not all of these scans will necessarily be useful. You must work in Photoshop to correct unreasonable areas and achieve logical results. Each of these processes was explained to show you the steps I went through and how I worked. Similar situations occur in other projects in the same way. It is important to understand the logic of working with artificial intelligence here.